Thank you, Baba. My name is Brother Heru. My title is Baba Heru Tehute Mesh. I'm with the African International Rites of Passage Universal Collective. And in Philadelphia, we have a tradition of bringing a lot of elders, teachers, and scholars to teach our young people. What we've been doing over the past few years is running African-centered rites of passage systems in the Philadelphia School District, and after-school programs, and also in weekend academies. So some of the young men that you may have seen in the hallways and those who are now in our advanced academies are only about 5% of all the students that are served in the school district. We have a confederation of 7 organizations that run these programs. And so during the week, we had Elder Baba Ranoka Rashidi being hosted by an organization called the Praxis Institute. And in that program, they run rites of passage in about 3 schools per day, some middle schools and some are high schools, ranging in students from anywhere from 20 to 50 in a session. That program has been doing a tremendous job thanks to Calvin Gatson, who's on his way back. He's been back and forth. He's one of the directors. Mr. Vertus Muhammad, Mrs. Marlena Muhammad, and also Prince Badara Endau, who's with us in the front here. And in those programs, running African-centered cultural workshops, work sessions, and forums. Because even though there is a mainstreaming process to try to put Black African-centered culture into all of the curriculum in the school district, it seems that it's not really having an effect. So a lot of outside groups and community-based groups and community of faith partners are going into the schools trying to assist with the process. For example, you may have been watching the news where a lot of our students are being shot, there are students being stabbed, students being raped by other students. And of course, the media will always show some of the horror stories going on, the 1% or 2% of the activities that young people seem to get involved with. But when it's a program like this, you won't see a lot of programs like this on the news, even though different media outlets were informed about the program. Baba Rashidi has been going around to these schools all throughout the week, going to 14 of the schools. Also performing different interviews on the radio. What he has done is very tremendous. A lot of times, excuse me one second. A lot of times, we pick up textbooks and different historical books and read the fantastic work that some of our scholars have performed and make the comment, I wish I could have met this person. I wish I could have just been at one of these people's workshops or presentations. I mean, a lot of young people are now getting back into Malcolm X. And there are some people using their CD and DVD burners, putting together different Malcolm X pieces. And a lot of young people are like, oh, that brother's deep. Who is that? And a lot of older people are like, what do you mean, who is that? And the key thing is we can't assume that by sending them to the public school that they're going to be educated on who he is. And so the one thing that I say to a lot of our revolutionary people, me being one of them, is you shouldn't always run to the public schools complaining about what they're not teaching our children, if they are really your enemy. You can't really send your children to your enemy and expect them to educate your children the way they're supposed to be educated. Okay? So what we do is a technique we use. Of course, this is being recorded, so this might give up the technique. We use a technique where we find the scholars, and then we bring the scholars to the young people. That way, it grows up in them, so that when they get ready to act in an adverse manner, hopefully something in their mind will click and will stop them from pulling that trigger, like the 5 students we now have in the hospital after being shot yesterday in 3 different locations. Not involved in anything, any nonsense. They were just going home. There was other people involved in shooting. They were just caught in the crossfire. Okay? So the thing that we try to do is to show them that there are black people like them all around the planet, despite what the TV shows them. Because the minute we hit what they call Black History Month, the first thing they start and stop with is slavery. They don't go any time before that. They don't go into any time after that. And they always portray, if you watch PBS, how happy and involved and motivated the slaves were. And what's tragic about it, believe it or not, some of the students that were in the program, and they'll tell you, made comments, even the ones directly from the continent, about how good slavery was or colonialism was, because they would not have come to where they are now if we had not been attacked and kidnapped and enslaved and hijacked. Now that's coming out of young people who are in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. Do you have any doubt what type of adult is about to be produced? So we're glad to have our teacher, our scholar with us. He has traveled the world, going to more than 50 countries, tracing the history, both with oral tradition and also with photography, of the global African presence. And so the workshop today is entitled Global African Presence, What They Never Told You in Black History Class. Baba Rashidi has co-edited numerous books, and he's also the author of a new book called Travel Notes by Ranoka Rashidi. He has them on sale up here, up at the front. Listen to the man, hear the man, talk about the black people around the world that are not ancient relics that have gone out as dust in time. These people, our people, are still here. You want to see some of them? The next time you watch any story on the news about what's going on in the so-called Middle East, look in the background and see a couple of those black people running and ducking. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's just a couple at that particular moment that unfortunately, for some people, the camera caught. Go around the corner, you would have seen the rest of them. They knew not to go around the corner at that time. Okay? So without further ado, our leader in knowing the global African presence, a teacher and a scholar, Professor Ranoka Rashidi.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers. Hey, Ruth, for that very gracious introduction, probably more than I deserve. But I have a very good relationship with Baba Heru, and there's nobody that I respect more. And of course, it's not just Baba Heru, but he is, I guess, representative of the body of people that I've been working with in Philadelphia for the last several years. They include Prince Endau, they include some of the sisters and brothers from Mata, the Bridges, Norm Bond, Calvin Gatson, Gary Young, Karen James, so many people. In fact, I could name essentially everybody in the room. I always have a very warm reception when I come to Philadelphia, and I'm pleased to be here, although it has been a long week. When you go to 14 schools, and one of them twice, and you are dealing with young people all too often who have a very low sense of self-esteem, it's difficult, it's demanding, and then it's Black History Month too. And what we are doing now is, let me see if I can clip this on so I don't have to hold it. We're trying to crowd so much, can you still hear me? Trying to crowd so much into this 28 or 29-day window. It's always struck me as ironic that we have the coldest and the shortest month of the year. And then this is a month where you have a lot of holidays too. George Washington's birthday, President Lincoln's birthday, all of these folk. So it's a lot. Now I left home on the 28th of January, and I'll be back on the 29th of March. You know, this month I lecture in 10 different states. I've already lectured in 5 states already. And then 2 weeks from today, I'll be just about this time sitting down in Bamako, Mali. And then I leave from there and I speak at a big conference in Ouagadougou. I know you know where that is. Burkina Faso. I come back to the United States for the ASCAC conference. I think we have some members of ASCAC here, Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. And then I take off the day after the ASCAC conference for Europe. I'm going back to Greece. I was in Greece last May. But when I was there, the National Museum was closed for renovations. They were getting it ready for the Olympic Games. And that was one of the major reasons I went in the first place. So I have to go back for that. And then from Greece, or from Athens, I fly to an island called Crete. Crete is important because this is where the first so-called European civilization developed. And it was initiated by African people. And then I'm going for the first time to a country called Jordan. There are some ruins in Jordan I wanted to see for a long time, and I'm very fortunate to have been able to identify